At 60, Shania Twain has never been one to shy away from honesty, but what she revealed about Ricky Nelson has left fans stunned. For decades, the country pop superstar captivated audiences with her powerhouse voice, chart-topping hits, and magnetic stage presence. Behind the glittering lights and global fame, however, were stories that had never been told, moments of admiration, conflict, and unexpected revelations about one of music's most legendary figures. Now Shania is finally speaking openly, sharing truths that have been buried under years of speculation, rumor, and silence. The story isn't just about music or fame. It's about influence, inspiration, and the complex human connections that shape careers and lives. Ricky Nelson, known for his charm, talent, and iconic presence, played a role in Shania's journey in ways the public never realized. While fans remember his hits and his legacy, Shania's account uncovers a side of Nelson that is intimate, revealing, and sometimes uncomfortable. From private interactions to professional guidance, from admiration to disillusionment, her revelations shed light on the nuances of their relationship, how legends intersect, and how influence can inspire, challenge, and even shape decisions in ways that aren't always visible on stage. This is a story of admiration, honesty, and courage. Shania Twain has waited decades to tell it, and now the full truth about Ricky Nelson is finally out. And it changes everything we thought we knew about both of them. Shania Twain's rise to superstardom is one of the most remarkable stories in music history. Her powerhouse voice, catchy melodies, and undeniable charisma propelled her to international fame. Yet behind the glittering lights of sold-out arenas and platinum records, she faced experiences few fans could imagine. One of the most surprising and long-held truths she has finally shared involves Ricky Nelson, a figure whose legacy in music seemed untouchable, yet whose influence intersected with Shania's journey in ways the public never knew. Speculation surrounded the relationship between Twain and Nelson, ranging from fleeting professional encounters to rumors of mentorship and personal connection. Shania remained largely silent, choosing instead to focus on her craft and her burgeoning career. But now, decades later, she is breaking that silence, revealing moments of admiration, challenge, and insight that shaped her both personally and professionally. Fans will be shocked to learn not just about her encounters with Nelson, but about the impact he had on her approach to music, stage presence, and the complexities of fame. The story begins at a pivotal moment in Shania's early career, when she was still navigating the music industry as a young, ambitious artist. Nelson, already a seasoned icon, represented both inspiration and caution. Interactions with him were a mix of professional guidance, unexpected challenges, and insights that were sometimes blunt, sometimes kind, but always unforgettable. Shania has described these encounters as defining moments, lessons in confidence, resilience, and navigating an industry that could be both generous and unforgiving. It wasn't just about learning from a legendary performer. It was about understanding the realities of fame, influence, and personal integrity. Shania recalls feeling both awe and apprehension during these interactions, recognizing the power Nelson wielded not just as a musician, but as a figure whose decisions and personality could impact careers, reputations, and personal lives. Every conversation, every encounter left an impression that lingered long after the applause had faded. Yet, the most surprising revelations are not just about mentorship or guidance. They also include moments of tension and miscommunication. Moments that challenged Shania's perception of industry dynamics and human behavior. These experiences forced her to confront her own values, ambitions, and the kinds of artist she wanted to become. They shaped her choices, her resilience, and her understanding of the balance between admiration and independence. Sets the stage for a story of revelation, growth, and the complex realities behind music legends. It introduces a side of Shania Twain that fans rarely see, a young artist navigating her path with curiosity, caution, and courage, learning lessons from someone whose star had already illuminated decades of music history. Her story about Ricky Nelson is not just a tale of encounters, it is a journey of insight, reflection, and the truths that can only emerge after years of experience, maturity, and courage. As Shania Twain's career progressed, the experiences she had with Ricky Nelson began to reveal deeper layers of insight, lessons that would influence not just her music, but her understanding of fame, relationships, and artistic integrity. While the public often imagines the path to stardom as glamorous and linear, Shania's story demonstrates that even moments with legends can be complex, challenging, and transformative. Nelson's presence in her life, both direct and indirect, became a touchstone for understanding how the music world operates behind the scenes. In her earliest interactions with Nelson, Shania recalls a mix of admiration and tension. The respect she had for him as an artist was undeniable: his mastery of performance, his ability to connect with audiences, and the legacy he had built over decades were inspiring. Yet there were also moments of friction where intentions were misread, or advice came wrapped in bluntness that felt difficult to navigate at the time. For Shania, these moments were not just awkward, they were instructive. They forced her to develop discernment, patience, and an acute awareness of both personal and professional boundaries in the industry. Behind the public performances and media coverage, Shania learned that mentorship, guidance, and influence are rarely straightforward. Nelson's approach was at once encouraging and exacting, a reminder that respect and admiration do not guarantee simplicity in interaction. Each conversation, each exchange, provided subtle yet significant lessons: how to assert her own voice, how to maintain artistic integrity, and how to recognize opportunities while protecting herself from undue pressure or expectation. These lessons, she would later acknowledge, were crucial for her long-term growth and resilience. Simultaneously, Shania faced the challenges of establishing herself in a highly competitive and male-dominated industry. For every moment of insight from Nelson, there were parallel struggles: proving her talent, navigating complex professional dynamics, and maintaining confidence under scrutiny. The contrast between the inspiration drawn from her encounters with a legend and the challenges she faced as an emerging artist sharpened her instincts. She began to understand the delicate balance between learning from others and maintaining her independence, a balance that would prove essential in the years to come. Shania also reflects on the emotional impact of these early experiences. Being noticed by someone of Nelson's stature brought excitement, validation, and sometimes pressure that was difficult to articulate. Behind the stage lights and cameras, she grappled with the reality of admiration and expectation coexisting with vulnerability and uncertainty. These moments were formative. They shaped her understanding of mentorship, influence, and the subtle ways in which legends leave their mark on those who follow. Reveals that Shania's story with Ricky Nelson is not simply about fame or professional encounters. It is about the nuances of guidance, the complexity of human connection, and the lessons that can only be learned through experience. Her reflections highlight the often unseen layers of mentorship, the delicate interplay of respect and autonomy, and the way formative experiences with iconic figures can shape not only a career but a person's character. By the end of this period, Shania had absorbed lessons that would echo throughout her life and career. She emerged more self-aware, resilient, and prepared to navigate the unique pressures of stardom on her own terms. These experiences with Ricky Nelson, once enigmatic and unspoken, would ultimately provide the foundation for her long-term artistic vision, self-confidence, and ability to make difficult decisions in a world that often demands compromise. By the time Shania Twain reached her 30s, the echoes of her early encounters with Ricky Nelson had evolved from curiosity into profound understanding. What initially seemed like simple guidance from a music legend had grown into a complex tapestry of lessons about influence, trust, and self-determination. Shania began to reflect on how these interactions had shaped not only her career, but her approach to life in the public eye. The admiration she felt for Nelson was always present, but it was now tempered by insight into the realities of the entertainment industry, a world where talent alone rarely guarantees fairness or clarity. One of the most striking aspects, Shania recalls, is the duality of Nelson's presence, inspiring yet challenging. He offered advice that was practical, sometimes blunt, and occasionally difficult to process as a young artist. His words were not always comforting, but they demanded reflection. Shania learned to listen not just to what was said, but to the underlying truths that guided it. Each conversation became a lesson in discernment, teaching her how to weigh advice, filter expectation, and retain confidence in her own voice. The public saw only glimpses of her growth, but behind closed doors, she was building the foundation for the strong, independent artist she would become. Simultaneously, Shania faced the constant pressures of fame, expectations, and the delicate dynamics of personal relationships within the industry. Nelson's influence served as both a benchmark and a cautionary tale. Even legendary figures are not immune to the complexities of public scrutiny and professional maneuvering. Observing and interacting with him taught her to navigate these challenges with poise, assertiveness, and a sense of self-preservation. She came to understand that resilience required not just talent, but emotional intelligence and strategic thinking qualities that would become essential as her career soared to unprecedented heights. This period also revealed the emotional resonance of mentorship and influence. Shania reflects on moments where Nelson's encouragement lifted her spirits and moments where his candidness forced her to confront uncomfortable truths. The impact of those experiences lingered, shaping her decision-making, her confidence, and her ability to handle criticism. She learned that admiration for someone does not eliminate the need for independent judgment, and that the lessons gleaned from iconic figures often carry subtle complexities that must be navigated carefully. Illustrates a pivotal stage in Shania Twain's journey: the transformation of early admiration into informed, self-assured action. Her relationship with Ricky Nelson, once enigmatic and intimidating, became a cornerstone of her personal and professional growth. By internalizing both the inspiration and the challenges he represented, she developed the resilience, insight, and assertiveness that would define her later successes. Ultimately, this reveals that Shania's story is about more than fame or public performance. It is about the formative power of experience, the nuanced influence of those we admire, and the courage required to translate guidance into independent strength. The lessons from Nelson, once mysterious and largely unspoken, would echo throughout her life, shaping her artistry, her confidence, and the legacy she continues to build today. As Shania Twain reached the milestone age of 60, the reflections on her relationship with Ricky Nelson have taken on a clarity that only time can bring. What was once a complex mix of admiration, challenge, and uncertainty has now crystallized into understanding, a recognition of how those early interactions shaped her career, her confidence, and her approach to life in the spotlight. At this stage, Shania is able to speak candidly about Nelson, acknowledging both his inspiration and the difficult truths she absorbed during those formative years. The story she tells now is not just about one iconic figure, but about the lessons that come from navigating relationships with those whose influence can be both powerful and complicated. She recalls the moments of insight, when Nelson's advice, sometimes blunt, sometimes unexpectedly perceptive, forced her to confront not only the mechanics of her craft, but the realities of the music industry. His guidance, combined with the challenges of maintaining her own identity in a competitive world, helped Shania cultivate the discernment necessary to make career-defining decisions. She learned to distinguish between helpful guidance and pressures that might compromise her values or vision, and she developed a deeper understanding of what it means to stand firm as an artist while remaining open to learning from those who have walked the path before her. Shania also reflects on the emotional impact of this mentorship. Admiration for a legend like Nelson was intertwined with vulnerability and the weight of expectation. Each encounter required her to balance respect with self-assurance, to absorb lessons without losing her sense of independence. It was in navigating these delicate dynamics that she honed the resilience and clarity that would become hallmarks of her later success. These were not simple lessons, and they were not always easy to internalize, but they became an essential part of the foundation upon which her career and personal growth were built. Over the decades, the influence of Nelson became a quiet but persistent presence in her life. The early challenges she faced transformed into strength, shaping her ability to make bold choices and take creative risks. By the time she reached this point in her career, Shania was not only a global music icon but also a deeply self-aware individual who understood the importance of discernment, independence, and courage. Her ability to reflect honestly on her experiences, including the difficult or unexpected moments, demonstrates the wisdom she has accumulated along the way. Illuminates the culmination of Shania Twain's journey with Ricky Nelson, the transition from admiration to understanding, from uncertainty to clarity, and from influence to independent strength. It is a story of mentorship that left an indelible mark, not through simple guidance or easy lessons, but through the complex interplay of challenge, observation, and reflection. Shania's candid revelations reveal how formative relationships, when navigated thoughtfully, can become powerful catalysts for growth, shaping both the artist and the person. Ultimately, the story she tells at 60 is one of insight, resilience, and perspective. It is a testament to the enduring impact of those who inspire us, the lessons that emerge from challenge, and the courage required to claim one's own path. By finally sharing the truth about Ricky Nelson, Shania Twain offers a rare and deeply personal glimpse into the realities of mentorship, influence, and the long, sometimes difficult journey toward self-assurance and artistic integrity.